let's talk a little bit about the vaccine. I have a lot of questions about it. So it came out seemingly very quickly. Or is that pretty much the norm for a vaccine to come out, 8 to 10 months after a virus comes in?
No. It's by far the fastest vaccine to come to market for a number of reasons. So there's really three main vaccines that we have now. Two of them are in North America. The third one is not yet approved here, but it is approved in the UK. But the vaccine, you're right, took just under a year to come out. Typical vaccines are going to take at least 3 to 5 years at the short end. So this was much faster for a couple of reasons. Number one, the funding, right? The funding was astronomical for this. The U.S. had a Operation Warp Speed, as they called it. There was a lot of funding, so they were able to quickly move to funding. The second is that at least the two major vaccines are what we call mRNA vaccines, and without getting super technical, those vaccines don't require you to grow the virus in sort of petri dishes and wait for that, which can take like 6 months. That's why the influenza virus takes 6 months to come out, because they have to wait for it to grow. And this, the mRNA technology allows them just to sort of synthesize a small portion, and then they can get the immune response. So that happened. And they did go through the appropriate, phase 1, phase 2, which are more the, biochemical, and then the phase 3 clinical trial. And they're supposed to follow people out till 2 years, and they will. But after an appropriate period of follow-up where they didn't see anything major, most countries have thought that the benefits of getting the vaccine out outweigh waiting, the full 2 years for the study to be completed, because most of the major side effects for most of these things you're going to see within the first 6 months, and they haven't seen anything really. And they're seeing, it's very efficacious, right? Like, I've gotten the vaccine a couple of weeks ago as a healthcare worker, and the vaccine rate is about 95% effective. So
which one did you get?
I got the Pfizer vaccine. We didn't have much of a choice. The Pfizer was the first one to kind of come out, and working in the ICU, I was one of the people that they, it was targeted up front to receive the vaccine, thankfully. So, Pfizer is the one that most hospitals get, just because it needs to be kept really cold. It's difficult to distribute. The Moderna vaccine, which is the other one you probably hear about, is the one that is going to go out more to like nursing homes, potentially to your family doctor, probably the one that most people will get in that way. And then there is the AstraZeneca, which is not yet, I don't think, approved in North America. That is approved in the UK. That doesn't need to be kept cold. It's a difference, a DNA vaccine, so it can be kind of administered as like normal vaccines are. So those ones are probably going to be more widespread.
And why is the one not approved in America yet? Is there reasons for that?
Yeah, it's a little bit different. So the AstraZeneca is a DNA vaccine, and it was weird. They did kind of a 2-leg study where they gave people, as you know, these vaccines are 2 doses right now. They gave people a full dose of the AstraZeneca and then another full dose, and those are about 60% effective. And then they gave people a half dose first and then a full dose later, and that was more effective, about 90%. So it's kind of weird. They had 2 different dosing regimes. And actually, when they only gave the half dose first, it was more effective. And it's thought, with the DNA vaccine, they're actually injecting a bit of they're giving you sort of a chimpanzee kind of molecule that mimics a common virus associated to help get this into the cell to be transcribed. It's a little bit different. They're using more live components because it's DNA and not mRNA. And because of that, it's thought that maybe if you give a full dose up front, that you're actually generating an immune response to the chimpanzee part and not the part you want. So for these complicated reasons, we don't know what the appropriate dosing regime is. We don't know whether you should, give half a dose first and a full dose, or give a full dose and a full dose, just because there's different outcomes with that. So it's taking a while longer for people to kind of shift through that and see with the AstraZeneca what the best way to approve it is. The other 2 were much more clear cut because they were, very clean regimes. They both had very high efficacious rates, well over 90%. And because it's mRNA, it's not really a live vaccine or anything. So it was a little bit easier, I think, to approve those up front.
So when you got the Pfizer, the one that you got, is this one where you have to take it and then like a month later you take another one?
Yeah, I've got my first dose, and typically wait 28 days to get the second dose. There is a Johnson & Johnson one that's coming through the pipeline if it gets approved, that I think is just 1 dose, but that's not finished its study yet.
And once you get your second dose, how long does that last for?
So we don't know exactly. With the first dose, there is, once you get about 14 days out, there's pretty good immunity. And with the second dose, you kind of top up to pretty good levels. And, the vaccine's only been around, they've only studied it about, 4 months when it first came out, probably 5 or 6 months. And the levels are still quite high at that point. I've signed up as part of our hospital to have my levels checked down the line. So, I can report back when I get some of those results. But yeah, as far as we know, the levels have been pretty good, 4 to 6 months out.